Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Monday, April 14th. It is 6:22 right now. We got market opening up in about 8 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. All right, a few more things here. All right, looks good. So as people join in, I'm gonna go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. On down to the 4 hour, down to the 1 hour, on down to the 30 minute, down to the 10 minute, and back down to the 1 minute here. All right, looks like we are good to go. So good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, April 14th. It is 6:26 right now. We have market opening up in about 4 minutes. Um, so looking at the ATR, guys, it looks like the market is back to normal. So like I said last week, and you saw my post last night. So basically last night, I said we had a couple options to adapt to the market conditions. We can either adjust our contract size to half risk so that we can take more trades, accept more than one loss, take minimal contract size and take all entries, minimize risk and trade with a 1 to 2 RR, or make no adjustments and just continue looking for what we've been doing for the past couple of months. Looking at the market so far, I think my first step would probably to be my first step would be to adjust my contract size to half. So I've reset my TP stop losses back to 30-30 because the ATR is currently at 17 right now. So it looks like we're going back to normal market conditions, which is great, right? Like I said last week, you just have to weather that storm. What happens with a lot of people is when the market goes crazy like that or something different happens in the market, people tend to kind of just YOLO their accounts, right? So looking at today, ATR is currently at 17. It's back to where it should be. Hopefully for the rest of the week, it'll probably stay at this normal ATR. So with that said, we'll probably go back to our normal TP stop loss of 30.30. So huge change from last week, 100 ATR, 80 ATR, 90 ATR, back down to 17 right here pre-market. We'll see what happens when market opens up in about 3 minutes. So with that said, guys, we'll see what happens here shortly when market opens up. Marked up the first level of liquidity above, and it's currently at 40,976. Closest level below is at 40,850. So we'll see what happens here when market opens. Direction for the breakout is looking like a possible buy for today, unless a sell signal does come up right here. Otherwise, the buy is the current direction right now for the breakout. So let's see what's here so far. Morning, Maria. Morning, Daniel. Morning, Christian. Morning, Steven. Morning, Sam. Morning, everybody. All right, guys, we got market opening up in about 2 minutes. If you guys are just joining in, like I mentioned, the ATR is back to normal. So we're going to go back to our 30.30 TP stop loss. And we'll just kind of play by ear. We'll see what happens here in a few, and then we'll go from there. See if there's news for today. So for today, we have the Fed speaking at 9 o'clock. Not really much else happening today. It's going to be a pretty slow day overall. Nothing happening for the most part. We get the Dow up right now, currently 500 points. Yeah, just looks like the market here is starting to, for the most part, kind of stabilize and go back to where it needs to be. So if you guys are looking to take the breakout, again, it's going to be a buy for today. Take a look at this in a few. So looking at the overall trend here, the 4 hours bullish, 1 hour is bullish, 30 minutes bullish, 10 minutes bullish, 5 minutes bullish, 1 minute's bullish. All the time frames here are bullish. Price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling to the upside. And we'll see again what happens here in a few. Market's currently at the sessions right now. A little bit of a tricky area where it's currently sitting. So it bounced directly off the sessions right there, as you guys can see. So you still got to pay attention to the red flags, guys, even though you're looking for trades in a certain direction. We got some pretty high volatility right here on open. So pretty high volatility right here. Christian's asking, are we going to lower to half and take entries or stay the same? So I just said I was going to lower it in half, Christian. I'm going to be doing half contract size. The ATR is back to 25, so we're not really getting a huge crazy push, but we are getting some volatility right here. This is the open move, of course. You can see directly where price bounced off of. It bounced directly off the sessions right here. So like I said, the red flags and stuff like that are still important. And we'll see what happens here in a few. So this liquidity just got knocked out. We have more liquidity down here. Hey, Craig, good morning. All right, we'll keep looking. So price looks like it's bouncing between these two levels of liquidity right here. The ATR again is slightly back up to 30. But we got to see where the average is currently at. So we'll see over here. Hey, Lila, good morning. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the market here to kind of stabilize a little bit. As you guys know, Mondays are kind of tricky because people are re-entering the market from the weekend. Just a lot to look at here. But I want to see what the average ATR is. I'm hoping the ATR stays around 30 again. If it doesn't, then we might have to bump it up to 50, 40, somewhere around there. I don't think I even have the numbers here for the 40 or the 50. All right, so there goes price pushes back up. So like I said earlier, guys, Mondays are typically days of manipulation, of course, on open at least. That's why when the market opens up on Monday, I typically try not to take anything for like the first couple, probably the first 5 or 10 minutes, because the market over here is obviously getting pushed back and forth. Price is respecting the sessions. Take a look at the market profile over here. So we're getting a big rejection right here off the top end. We'll see if it holds. I mean, it probably won't hold. Might push above, retest, and come right back up. So you've got that right there. We've got a rejection right here off the value high on the 30-minute. Rejection right here off the value high on the 1 hour and the point of control. Nothing here on the volume profile. On the clean chart, we have rejections off the top end, nothing on the bottom yet. These are the support and resistance levels that I marked up last week. Haven't touched these here yet. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark up new levels. Still not looking for anything here right now. So the ATR is back at 40, guys. We're not necessarily, well, we haven't found like a median yet, or a median or an average. So looking at the ATR right now, it's currently at 41. So the 30-30 probably wouldn't be able to work out here. Probably would have to be something like a 50-50 at least. Well, I mean, you guys can see how crazy these candles are moving still. The ATR is lower than usual, or I mean, the ATR is kind of average, but the candle movement here is still pretty heavy. So what we need to look for again is we need to look for the ATR here to kind of stabilize, meaning it's going to stick around a certain number where these candles here are going to move in that size, because these candles are still pretty big. Yeah, we're still getting 100-point candles here. Hey Christian, yeah, I half my contract size. So I mentioned that when we first started, I was going to half my contract size so I can take 2 trades. I don't know what my contract size is going to be yet because the ATR is still all over the place. Currently at 44, but that's not the average, or it's not the real average, because these candles here are kind of big. Yeah, these candles are still really big. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer. The ATR looks good, but the thing is, it's because these candles over here were kind of dead. So like earlier, the candles weren't really moving, and then now they're moving very volatile. So what I might have to do here is I might have to adjust this a little bit so that we know what the actual average is. Didn't really make a big difference, so. Let's see, it's loading right now. Yeah, so what I did over here, guys, is I just went over to the ATR. I changed it back to 7 for right now. It's normally at 14, but I changed it to 7 so that we can see what the volatility is for these current candles right here. If you factor in the previous candles right here, pre-market, it's going to be lower. But the ATR right now is actually really high. It's currently at 63. So if you guys have your default settings at 14, it's probably going to be closer to 40. But the actual ATR right now, with regard to just these the previous 7 candles, is currently 60 to 50. So I'm probably still gonna have to adjust my TP stop loss to a little bit higher. So let's see. $50. Sure. Yeah, just when we thought the market was gonna move back to normal, it's obviously not. Try to calculate. All right, I'm gonna go into my settings real quick. Uh, Actually, there's no point in going to my settings real quick because the ATR is still pretty high. It's now at 60. So I'm gonna calculate the half sizes for, I just gotta calculate the half sizes for everything at this point. It's kind of annoying, but gotta do the math here. Basically the same. Yeah, Daniel said Wick City. There's a ton of wicks here, guys. So this is, obviously you guys can see this is not a good time to enter any trades. I'm still waiting for the market here to kind of stabilize a little bit so we can kind of figure out what the ATR is at. If you're on the regular ATR, it's probably going to be super, super different. I changed my ATR to 7 right now. So if you go to trailing stop, I changed the length to 7. So that we're getting the average of the previous 7 candles. So instead of the previous 14, we're getting the average of the previous 7, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The reason I do that is because right here, these candles are pretty crazy compared to the ones over here, right? Pre-market, the market was actually okay. It was pretty decent. And then these candles over here started moving pretty crazy. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So around 650, I'll change the number back to 14. So if you guys want to change it, you guys can change it. If you guys want to wait, you can just wait because I'm just waiting for 14 candles here to pass before I can change it back to 14 because the average default number is 14. I changed it to 7 right now because these candles are nothing compared to these previous ones over here. So let's see from this one. Yeah, basically at 644, I'll change it back to 14. Right now, I just have it down to 7 because obviously you guys can see the craziness of the market right now. It is all over the place. Yeah, it's hard to want to take sells there, but too many wicks though. Yeah, I agree. There was an NPSB2 that came up right here. It did hit, or I think it might have hit, but the wicks are just crazy at the moment. Yeah, if your TP stop loss was 60-60, you would have survived it. The ATR is currently at 65, so you might have to go even higher to 65-65. So there's an NPS that came up right here, guys. Not one that I'd recommend taking. I mean, obvious reasons. You guys can see these candles here. They're pretty crazy all over the place. Yeah, Tarek said my confidence was a good selling area though. Yeah, 100%. Looks like it could be a good selling area. I mean, we were looking for this earlier. Yeah, nice rejection right there off the 1 minute point of control. Nothing on the 30 yet. Nice rejection off the 1 hour right here, value high. Volume profile, huge rejection. Yeah, there's a lot of confluences here for a sell. We have rejections over here off the clean chart, rejections off the support resistance. So rejection off resistance right there. There's about like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, five confluences here. So 5 confluences for a sell. And that would have been a good nice sell entry. The only problem again is like there's so many wicks in this area. It's really hard to identify what the direction of price would actually be. That would be reliable at this point. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to adjust the ATR back to 14. If you guys didn't change anything, it's fine. You're going to start to see a balance of ATR now. After one more candle, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so we're good. The average now is looking like it's going to sit around like about 50 points. I think 50 points is going to be the average. So I guess I can make my adjustments here to 50 points now. Or I mean, I don't know, we might have to leave it at like 6 because the consistency is just all over the place. I'm going to adjust it to 50 though for right now. Let's see. This is why it becomes hard for me to adjust my contract size because I have so many accounts and they're all different contract sizes that they're not going to be the same. I have to manually go in and change the and like literally change it myself. All right, so I've kind of dropped down to 4 contracts. This will allow me to take 2 trades instead of just 1. So if you guys didn't see my message in the Discord, I gave a couple of different options. So what I did over the weekend is I did a lot of review of last week's market to identify what can we do to adapt with the current market conditions. The first option is to adjust contract size to minimize risk and take more trades. So instead of focusing on just 1 loss, I'm going to halve my contract size so I can allow for 2 losses. This is what I'm using for today, right? What I noticed is that I chose a loss, but then a win happened next. And with that win next, it could have balanced out my position. So instead of having a loss for the day, I could have had a break even or I could have had a profitable day. The other option here is take minimal contract size and take all entries that appear. So instead of taking like a decent contract size, you'll take something very small, like 1 or 2 contracts, and then take every trade that comes up. The third option is minimize risk and trade with the 1 to 2 RR. It probably wouldn't work in this type of market because it's so jumpy and it's all over the place. But once we go back to a normal market, that'd probably be the better option because typically price doesn't go into drawdown. And the last option is to make no changes. Obviously, I'm making changes here to adapt with what we currently are dealing with. And for the smaller account, so basically, if you have an account that's 50K or smaller, you might have to move down to the micro, guys. I know we currently trade on YM. What you guys can do if you need to is you can do the same thing. You can go over to MYM, which is literally the same thing. This is where you would execute your trades. So you can see over here, MYM is the same exact thing as YM. It's just you're going to be trading the micro instead of the mini. Because I know the mini is going to be tough for a lot of people with smaller accounts because 1 contract is going to be a big move, right? So if you guys have a small account, you might want to just execute your trades on the mini or just use the mini in general. The mini and and the micro are the same thing. It's just you can use different contract sizes. So for example, if I was trading the mini here, so say for example, I was taking a buy position, right? Say I was taking a buy position over here with one contract, right? For 100 TP stop loss, my risk would be 500, right? But if you're trading on a small account, that's a lot, right? Because you're not supposed to be risking that much. You're supposed to be risking a lot less. If you trade on the mini or the micro, which is MYM, and I'll show you real quick. If I was to buy a position here for MYM and your TP stop loss was 100, so instead of risking 500, you'd be risking $50. See that? So you could be doing the same exact thing. It's just when you trade the micro, it'll be a lot less. So if you guys are on a smaller account, you probably want to go over here on the micro. You calculate your contract size based on trading view. So like, for example, if you wanted to do the equivalent, it'd be 10 units. So 10 contracts will equal 500 versus one contract on the mini, which would be 500. So you basically drop it down to decimal. So when you're trading on the mini, 1 unit will be 500. When you're trading on the micro, 1 unit will be 50. So you basically just take a zero off. That's why it's called micro versus mini. All right, still nothing here for me to take at the moment. Price pretty much came down, grabbed liquidity, and came right back up. There's no buy signal here yet, so there's nothing to take here for a buy at the moment. Hey, Chris. Chris said, how do you change the number of candles for the moving average? Perfect. All right, so Chris got it. All right, yeah, so I'm back to the 14 ATR, guys. I moved it to 7 earlier this morning because like the candles over here were so small compared to the current ones. But now that market's kind of like pushed through and we have 14 candles, which are like normal size, I put it back to 14. So the ATR is currently at 58 right now. The movement is still really big though. So just when I thought the market here was going to be back to normal, I mean, it really isn't. Thanks, Jonathan, for the breakdown for the mini to the micro. Yeah, basically on the mini, it's $5 per point for one contract. On the micro, it's 50 cents. All right, I'm looking for a buy signal here to come up. Once a buy signal comes up, I'll look for some confluences here for a buy. We have a pending buy signal right here. Looking at the 1 minute, there's no confluences here yet. 30-minute, there's a rejection off the bottom end. We're getting a rejection off the value high and also a rejection off the point of control. Looking over here at the 1 hour, we have a rejection on both sides off the point of control and then also off the value high. Nothing here on the volume profile. Rejection right here off the clean chart, off the 4,700 price point. Rejection right here off the support on the support resistance chart. So we got some nice confluences from the bottom end. The only problem is if we get a buy signal here, we're going to be stuck at the sessions. So a little tricky. A little tricky there. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work out. Yeah, what I would need to see here is that you would need price to push up, maybe retest this area and come back up. So if I'm going to take a buy here, I need to take it above the sessions. Can't take it below because it's going to be cutting into the sessions right there. So guys, just a reminder, I'm taking half risk today, right? So usually I'd be taking a full risk and I'm only accepting one loss. For today, I'm basically half of my risk in half so I can shoot for 2 trades instead of just one. Because what's been happening lately is I've been taking one trade, it loses, and then the next trade wins. So to catch that possible next trade, Just got to half my risk in half. All right, there's nothing here right now. We have a buy signal. We have a retracement price. We need to break and close above this black line right here in order for it to be an NPSB2. The problem with this here, though, is if you do take this as an NPSB2, you have to cut through the session, which is the red flag, of course. So not exactly the type of entry that I'd be looking to take here. So just got to be patient, guys. Today's Monday. You know, I always remind you guys this pretty much every week. You guys have a whole week ahead of you guys, right? You don't have to force any trades. You know, I discussed with a couple people in the group about trading on tilt, right? If you guys don't know what trading on tilt is, it's really like kind of throwing your strategy out the window and taking every entry or whatever entry you see that we think may come up. Last week was a good example of self-control and discipline, right? I took a couple losses, last week was it was a pretty heavy week because I haven't had a red week like that in a while. But it was bound to happen, right? So it's all good. We've had a pretty good win streak for like pretty much the whole year. Last week was probably my worst week in a really long time because I didn't have any wins to balance out the losses. But it's all part of the game. I'm still overall pretty net positive for the year. You know, that one week isn't gonna make or break my account. So now I'm trying to adjust my risks so I can bounce back and take more trades, of course. So we have a possible NPSB2 that's coming up right here, guys. If this candle closes above the black line, that's an NPSB2. Not one that I would personally take because of the red flag up there, but if you guys want to take it, I've marked it up right here for you guys. All right, so this is an NPS2 currently running right now. Not in this position. Like I said, there's a red flag right here, so it's like not one that I personally want to take. I'm gonna take this off. I don't want you guys to think I'm in the position, but like I said, this is a tricky area to be taking entry because of the red flag right here. Whenever price gets near this area, typically price will tend to get manipulated. I mean, it could be manipulated to the upside to hit your TP, or it could be manipulated to the downside, gets near it, and then it comes straight down, right? So you just want to be smart about it. You know, there's a lot of risk involved when you trade around the sessions, not the risk that I'm looking to take, of course. So the trade here is running. The ATR is currently at 58 right now, so you probably want to go for a smaller, either 60 or 55, somewhere around there. Yeah, CJ, probably 60 or 55, somewhere around there, because the thing is the ATR is not super consistent. So, well, right now it's kind of averaging around 60. So I'm probably going to use a 60 and then maybe adjust it once the trade is kind of running live. I think 60 would be a good number though, because that seems like that's what the average is looking like. So again, I'm gonna take this off. I want you guys to think I'm in the position. I'll come back and take a look at it in a few as price continues to move along. But right now I'm not going to be taking this position, of course. I would have taken it if it climbed above. So if you had this push to the upside, retracement and continuation from here, then I would have taken it from there, but not necessarily down here because we're right at the sessions red flag. Looks like price here might start to consolidate a little bit. Yeah, some consolidation right here. So we got a sell signal here that's currently pending. I might be looking for possible opportunities for sell here. I think we do have some confluences. So 30-minute rejection off the value high, 1 minute rejection off the value high, 1 hour rejection off the value high. Nothing here off the volume profile yet. Look for a possibility of a break and retest right here off the clean chart off the 40,750. And obviously rejection right here off the resistance level. Yeah, CJ said didn't take it because of that higher high. I need a low to paint on that momentum before considering. Plus, it's near the sessions, like you said. Yeah, I agree. It's kind of in that tight area right now. Looking at this right here, this could be, well, I mean, price is currently ranging and consolidating within this box that I grew up right now. There may be a possible opportunity here for MPS for a sell. So price may drop down further and then grab liquidity down here. There's a lot of liquidity sitting down here. So, see, I mean, this looks like it could be a possibly a good selling trade. I don't need more adjustments here for this. That's 16. It's like we're going to be in this consolidation range for a while. You know, super long, but a while. All right, so what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for a possible, I mean, I would like to see a rejection off this area right here. I think this might be a little too choppy, to be honest. We do have rejection here off the 30-minute, off the value high, rejection off the 1 hour. Nothing on the volume profile yet. Nothing on the clean chart. Sort of rejection right here off the resistance. It's a little tricky right here, guys. It's a little tricky if we would have to close below this black line. But the sells could look good here if it does actually, you know, confirm. We got 10 seconds left. See, I don't like when this happens where like price comes down, it comes below here, and then it swings all the way back up with a big wave. I think price is going to respect this range that I drew up right here. So no sell entry right there, at least not yet. But the confluences do look good. Okay, so perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to see, right? So I mentioned I was looking for price to come up, retest this area, and then come back down lower. So you might have well, maybe not. If the buy signal here closes, obviously no more sells. But I do like that rejection right there. That's what I was looking for. So I said possibly look for the rejection up here and then come back down sharply. So this could be a possible sell entry. You have rejection right there off the 1 minute, rejection off the 30, rejection off the 1 hour, rejection off the volume profile, rejection off the clean chart. Yeah, a lot of stuff's here looking good for a sell, guys. I'll be looking to take this if it closes below that. It has to for sure close though. Can't have it where it's bouncing back and forth. No, I'm not going to take this one here. Yeah, this was too close. I mean, unfortunately, it looks like it's probably going to play out. I mean, it didn't actually close down there. But this would have been the setup. Yeah. Tricky right there. I don't know. Did you get into a target? I was looking for it to come down, but it didn't actually. Like, I don't like when this happens where it's like right on the line. Yeah, smart move, Tark. I'm glad you didn't get into that one. I can tell a lot of people would probably FOMO into that trade there. I've FOMO'd into this type of trade way too many times where I'm not going to take that risk anymore. So I'm going to take that off, and there's no entry there. So it was close, guys. Close entry there. It just did not close right below it. I mean, it gapped below it, but it didn't actually close below it. So nothing right there. CJ said our CEO is in office today, so today should be a good trading day. And that dude's knocked out. He hasn't been out here for a while. Yeah, Rapid said I fumbled that exact trade, the first trade I took coming back. Never again. LOL. Good lesson. Yeah, I agree with you 100% Rapid. That's what I did last Monday. So the same thing happened last Monday where price closed like how it did right here and it kind of gapped below it. And I took it, right? I took it the last second. And what happened was price shot all the way back up. So I'm not going to make that dumb mistake again. Like I told you guys before, once you get burned enough times doing something kind of stupid, you don't do it anymore, right? That's how you learn. So for me, I got burned taking these kinds of trades where they were too close to the line, and I'm just not going to take those trades anymore, of course. Yeah, Tarek said close below last second, didn't want to force it. Smart move. I mean, it's all about patience, right? We just talked about this earlier. It's all about patience and discipline, guys, in this type of market, because I mean, look at how the market's moving right here. It's very choppy. It's very back and forth. The volatility is still pretty high. This is a good market to really wipe people out, right? Or like other people say, to crash out, right? I've seen a lot of people crash out in a lot of instances like this because they just get frustrated, right? They try to catch the tops, they try to catch the bottoms, they try to trade both directions, and they just keep getting wiped out in both directions. Because the thing is, this range isn't a small range, right? This is almost a 100-point range. Right, it is a 100-point range. So you can really get wiped out in either direction. Like you can try to take the top here and then take an entry from this point, with your stop loss really tight, and you can still get stopped out. So, and look at this huge candle, see? So this is what I'm talking about. Like you can try to trade these bounces, but at some point it's gonna come out and it's just gonna wipe you out. Crazy candle right there. Let me see how big it was that. That candle spiked in like a few seconds. So it was down here and it spiked about 100 points, almost 100 points in just like a few seconds right there, right before close. This is why it's really important to follow the news because whenever something gets released, it can easily screw up your position. So this is Dow Jones 300 points as US tariff exemptions boost tech stocks. There we go, as price pushes back up higher. All right, let's look for some confluences here for a buy. So we got a nice rejection right here off the point of control. We have nothing here on the 30-minute. We have a rejection right here off the point of control. It's a lower rejection down here off the value low on the volume profile. Clean chart rejection down here as well. So the buys could look good here. I mean, there's a lot of rejections here off the, yeah. So we have a lot of confluences. We have a rejection off the support, rejection on the SR, rejection on the clean chart, rejection on the volume profile. There's pretty much a rejection on every chart except the 30-minute market profile. So we have confluences across the board. The buys here could look good. The only problem here again is the consistency of these candle movements. We're also getting close to the opening price. All right. So there could be a possible MPSV2 setting up right here. Again, the main problem with this is that we're getting close to the red flags up here. We got the sessions, we got the opening price. We don't really like trading around those areas. The thing with this type of market is that sometimes price just doesn't respect those areas. So, I mean, there could be opportunity and possibilities of entry right there, but you still have to understand the risk of taking a trade in that, in this type of area. All right, so let's see what happens here. If this candle closes green, this is going to be an MPSV2. Again, the main problem here, I don't think this is gonna be an interactive tape. The main problem is that we're in the middle of all of these red flags. We got opening price, and we have the sessions right here. If you guys want to take this entry, I'll mark it up for you guys, but again, take it at your own risk. It's just, this is a red flag area. So it's going to be patient, going to be disciplined, just going to wait for, if the entry doesn't come up today, it's completely fine. If you guys are just joining in, I'm halving my risk for this week, guys. So I'm normally taking a full risk and taking about a 200,000 or a 2,000 risk per account. I'm risking 1,000 so that I can take 2 trades. So instead of just losing 1 trade and being done for the day, I can lose up to 2 trades. And I'm just not in any rush, after experiencing what we did last week, I think this is a good time to really ease into the market. The good thing is that the volatility is not like extremely high, right? We're not like at 75, 80, 90 anymore. We're closer to 60. So it seems like the average for like the market now is going to be around 60, which is fine. This is double of what we were doing before, right? We were doing 30, 30 before. Now we're doing 60, 60, which is completely fine. This is just the way that we have to adapt to this current market. So I'd rather be trading at 60 than trading at 100, of course, because 100 is just, it's way too far out. All right, it does not look like we're gonna get an NPSV2 here. We have a red candle that's currently coming down super sharp. We'll see if this starts to flip back to a sell. So currently right now we have the buyers in control from, we'll say, about this area right here. With this, we have a pending sell signal. If that's the case, you may have the sellers back in control from right here. Got it. Possible sell right here coming up. All right. So if the sell signal here closes, no longer any buys, guys. The green candle never came up, so it's all good. Take that off right there. And looks like price might be pulling back into the range below here. Looks like we got a huge fake out. Price is ranging down here. Pushed up, faked out, came right back into the range. And this might be the case here. So pending sell signal. Once that sell signal closes, we'll go back and we'll take a look at the confluences for a sell. But I'm taking it easy today, guys. There's no need to force any trades. Just remember, you got a whole week ahead of you guys. So if this isn't your day to take entries, then it just isn't your day. The last thing I need to do is take another bad trade, right? So I'm gonna take it easy. Last week, I think I only took 1 bad trade. I think the last 2 trades were technically considered valid. So I think the trade on Friday was valid. The trade on Wednesday was valid. The trade on Monday was a bad trade, though. That was the one that I took where it was right on the line. But everything else was pretty much valid. So as long as you stick to valid trades, you should be perfectly fine. All right, so this technically is still going to be an NPSV2 for a buy if this closes green. So if this closes green here, this is technically still an NPSV2 for a buy. The problem with this here is it's right at the sessions. So it's not one I'd recommend taking, not one that I advise taking, but some people just want to take every single entry that comes up. If the sell signal closes here, we can possibly shift down to a sell now. Okay, sell signal closed. Let's take a look at the confluences for a sell now. So let's go over to the 1 minute. We don't have, or actually we do. So we have one rejection right here off the value high. Looking at the 30 minute, we also have a rejection right here off the value high. Looking at the 1 hour, rejection right here off the point of control and value high. Volume profile, there is a rejection off the value high, which is way up here. If price comes below this point, possibly rejection off the point of control. Looking over here at the clean chart, we have a rejection off the value high, but it's like way up here. It's happened about like 4 or 5 minutes ago. And looking over here on the support resistance chart, we do have rejection off resistance. So we have confluences across the board here for a sell. I think a sell could be good. If anybody's looking to take it, we just need a retracement and then a possible continuation back down below this black line right here. So here goes a retracement candle. It closes green. The overall trend is not bearish, but man, a lot of back and forth here, guys. So a ton of we call and consider a lot of back and forth. Let's see the areas of liquidity right here. All right, so basically a break and retest off this level of liquidity right here. Check the 5 minute. So basically a break and retest off this liquidity, possibly a pushback down. So this could be a possible setup for an MPSV2. Candle has to close below this black line. It's got to for sure close below it, guys. So like I said earlier, if it doesn't close below it, it's going to be, it's going to be considered tricky, of course. See, I don't like when this happens, when it comes below like that, but it doesn't actually close, where it kind of bounces off. That target's going to take it here as well. I'm looking at it. I mean, we'll see if it comes below. It's not looking like it, but all right, we got this closing below in about, I'm going to take it to you. All right, so it closed below. I mean, it didn't really close below, actually. Now that I'm looking at it, it didn't actually close below. The same thing that happened earlier. I mean, I'm in the position already, so I can't really do anything about it. But let's see. So what I might do here is, let's see, I'm going to try to get out of this. My stop loss and profit.
Target filled.
Fuck.
Target filled.
All right, I'm out. All right, well, I got a full TP right there. It did close below it. Yeah, it actually did close below it. I don't know. This was kind of a tricky trade too. So I was trying to move my stop loss. You guys saw me kind of move my stop loss and profit. The thing is weird because it closed below it here, but then it gapped up. But I mean, it's still technically a valid entry because we had the sell signal here, retracement, closed back below right here, and it did close, but for some reason this candle over here gapped up a little bit, but it's okay. I took it right there, full TP across the board. Nice start to this week. I took that with half risk, so you'll see my profits are not necessarily where it normally is, but I'll take it. Yeah, Tark said I thought it was a really good setup. Place to sell was solid. Yeah, it was perfect. It was right down the middle, Tark, no red flags. We had all the confluences right here, 1 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, volume profile. I mean, everything here lined up, clean chart and support resistance. So this is what we consider like an S-class trade, right? an S class because everything lined up. We had confluences on every single chart. There was no red flags. Everything set up. The only thing here that kind of threw me off was the gap right here. But then I ended up just trailing it down with my stop loss and profit. So worked out perfect. So thanks, Tarek, for your analysis to line up with mine, and everything just played out perfect. So nice work, guys. Looks like a lot of you guys here took it. The only one that Sam skipped. It's all good, Sam. It happens sometimes, right? You know, we skip the ones that you take sometimes, and you skip the ones sometimes we take. But a lot of people here did catch it with us. CJ caught it. Vapid caught it. Yeah, Vapid said a retracement had me sweating. I know when I saw the gap above here, that's what kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, oh, maybe I should just get out of this position with a partial profit. But I'm glad we held on to it, and there goes our first win for the week. So, that was for 60 points. So we'll keep looking for another opportunity here. I mean, it's still pretty early in the session, guys. We got a while to go, so don't worry. I took that with half risk, so I got another opportunity where I have like 2 opportunities now, or 3, to take more trades. So, all right, nice little bounce back from hectic market last week. All right, so 2 of the entries that came up today, both full TPs, guys. There was one here that came up earlier this morning. I didn't take it because the market was super winky and it was just all over the place. And we're still trying to figure out what the average ATR is. Over here, we did take this one. Like I said, I think the 60 is a good number, guys. I think 60 is a good number. The ATR is kind of like staying around that area. So I'm probably gonna leave it at 60 for now, which is good. It's just double what we're usually taking. And here are my profits. So I took half, like I said. If I took this with a full contract size, I would have made about 2,500. Right here, I locked in 1,200 per account. So there are my profits right there for the day and for the week so far. Taking half risk, so just playing by ear. Well, we'll see as we continue on here. All right, so we're back in this range right now. Man, this was just a really good setup, guys. So like what I said earlier, it did pretty much that, right? So I said price was here in this consolidation range. It went up here for a fake out, and I said it's probably gonna push back into this area, right? And that's exactly what happened here. Price pushed back into the area, and now it's back into this range. So I think price is going to respect this range for a while. So see right here, fake out, and then price came back into the range. Same with this over here. See how price faked out down here, and now back into the range. So we'll see. See Adam, see what happened with yours. Yeah, so looking at Adam's profits over here. So I'm assuming this O2 is your main account, right, Adam? And this is your copiers. Yeah, did you close this out manually or it just automatically closed out for you? Like it just closed out all the positions. Okay, so this looks like it was just slippage. Yeah, I think it's only slippage because I don't think, like, if you have all the settings that we set up that we talked about, I mean, you should be fine. I think what happened here is just it was slippage. Sometimes slippage works against you. The good thing here is that the slippage worked with your favor. What TP stop loss did you use, Adam? Did you use a 60-60? Okay, so okay, that makes sense. So what you had here is see how price spiked down because your TP was at 45 right here, right? See how it spiked down like really quickly below it? That was a slippage. So what happened is your main account, it closed right here at 45, But then when your main account took that close, it was like it signaled to all these accounts like, all right, we got to close out right here. And what happened is it spiked down an extra, 20 points or whatever, and then it gave you extra 400, or it gave you an extra 200 on that, basically. So what it did is it basically gave you instead, yeah, it kept dropping super fast. So your main account closed out right here, but then it didn't signal to your copiers until it was like a little more than double, almost like 70 down here. Because the thing is, it kept dropping. So, yeah, the thing with this is it might be your computer. If your computer is a little too slow, um, it's gonna, in order for it to signal it to your copier, it might have that little lag in between. I would recommend if you don't like close all the extra programs that you have in the background, because that's what's gonna cause your computer to slow down. Like for my computer, I don't do anything except execute the trades. So I don't have anything on there. Like I don't have any Zoom. I don't have any of that other stuff. I just have NinjaTrader by itself, and all it does is it executes my trades. That's why it's usually on point with my copier here. So like, see how these are all like I didn't have any slippage here. Mine is all at 1,200, and then down here for my Tradeify, they're all 900, and this one too. So just something to keep in mind. I don't know how old your computer is, or if it's like if you're running a lot of programs in the background, but that could cause some issues. But yeah, I'm glad that it worked out in your favor. All right, guys. So there's a possible MPSV2 that is coming up right here, guys. We have a buy signal. We have a retracement on this red candle, and a possible if this candle closes back above it, possible buy. Let me take a look at the confluences here. So looking at the market profile, there's nothing on the 1 minute. There is a rejection right here off the value low on the 30 minute. There is a rejection off the value low here on the 1 hour. Nothing here on the volume profile. Nothing here on the clean chart. And a small rejection right here off the support and resistance. So we don't have the entry here. Price never closed above it. You can see here that price again is respecting this range pretty nicely. Sam said, yeah, rub it in my face. I'm sitting with the stop loss. Glad you won. Hella happy. You was happy you see live stream. Yeah, it's all good. You killed it last week, Sam. So, this is your retribution. The thing is, the market is like, it's so unforgiving, right? I think that's the key word with especially this type of market. I feel like this type of market is so unforgiving that like it doesn't really matter what strategy you apply. It's either some people are going to be on one side and some people are going to be on the other end. So looking at this right here, guys, this candle did not close above it, but it did gap above the black line right there. So there's technically no entry here for MPSV2 because this candle did not close above it, but it did gap in between. I've been starting to notice this a lot today. So we had about 3 gaps that happened today. If you guys have been following, there's a gap over here. There's a gap on our actual entry right here. And there's another gap right here. This isn't good. You don't want to see gaps like that because that's causing slippage in the market, right? Because the thing is, like, if we're having this much volatility in between each candle close, it just shows you that there's no consistency with regard to with how price decides to move, because you can only imagine like within 1 second price gapped. Let me see how far it gapped. Probably not a lot, but yeah, not a huge amount, but it still gaps like about like 2 or 3 points, which is not good. You don't want that. You want these to be moving smoothly, right? We want to have some sort of smooth move up or some sort of smooth move down, right? You don't want to see something like this where it's like pushing up and then at last second it gaps and then gaps back up. I mean, this looks nice, but you guys can see what I mean by that with these little gaps. So just, like I said, guys, be patient. It's still Monday, so you have a lot of time ahead of you. You don't have to force anything here. If the market keeps doing this and it closes exactly on the dot, I would probably not take it unless there's a lot of confluences like for our sell over here. So just be smart about it. I mean, that's the only thing I can say. Be smart about your decisions here. Don't take anything that I wouldn't say don't take anything that I wouldn't take, because obviously there's a lot of trades that are still good, but I wouldn't take them. Like this one again over here. See how it gapped, but and it's running. I don't think this one's as good as this one though. I mean, this could possibly run up, but here we go as it respects the range. Projection right there off the upper range. Anything that happens outside this range is usually going to be fake out until it's ready to break out of that area. So like I said before, this is kind of the meat of the market here. This is what matters. This middle area. Everything outside is basically a fake out. Fake out above here, fake out below here, and it just pulls back into this middle range. See, we got some team profits over here. So we got Tarek locked in 1,321 on the last trade. Nice work, Tarek. Yeah, solid profit there. Gross 1,350. Pretty solid, 5 contracts. Yeah, full TP again right there. So if you guys took it, nice work. If you guys didn't, again, it's fine. Like I said, these gaps have been kind of throwing me off today. I don't usually see gaps like this very often. Yeah, CJ said when it gaps like that, it's guaranteed market flow V2. I know, right? All right, so we'll see what happens here next, guys. Not much else happening at the moment. We got price pushing up. So looking at the NPSV2, I mean, it's playing out pretty nice today, guys. If we were to count every entry that came up today, I think like it came up and it wasn't at a red flag. So basically, there's more wins and losses today if you took literally every trade that came up. So we had one win right here. This one wouldn't count because it was at the sessions. This one over here would have been a loss, but actually no, it wouldn't have been because it didn't actually close. Pretty much all the entries today hit for the most part. This momentum signal, there was no opportunity there for entry because I mean, price just never gave opportunity there. So there's an entry here, there's an entry here, and there's an entry here. This one might have not counted because it didn't really close above it, but for the most part, the NPSV2 is hitting as long as you're like following the criteria. So going back to what I said earlier, you have an option here if you want to, like you can do whatever you guys feel comfortable with. For me right now, I'm using option 1. I just adjusted my contract size so that I can take 2 losses instead of 1 loss for the day. If you want to take every single trade, you can take smaller contract size and just take every trade that comes up. I wouldn't do step 3 right now because the market's very choppy. Or you can go back to step 4 and just focus on 1 trade per day or 1 or 2 trades per day. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, I put it under the announcements last night. There's basically 3 main options. It's either you have your contract size, you have your contract size and you trade how we typically do. But it gives you opportunity for 2 losses to equal 1. Or you can lower your contract size and take every single entry. Or you can just go back to what we were doing and not make any changes. I think that's the main thing here right now. Either way, there's 3 entries that came up. If you took every single entry that came up today, that would equate to profit, of course. Right? Even if you were taking minimal contract size here. So let's see, if I was taking minimal contract size, which would probably be, what am I taking right now? I'm taking 4, so I'd probably take 2. So 2 times 5 times 60, that'd be 600 times 3. So I'd make maybe a little more profit. So for today so far, I'm currently in profit, or I made 1,200. If I was to take minimal contract size, I would make 1,800. So just a little bit more if I took every single entry that came up. So I don't think it's like super necessary. Did you miss that buy right there, Sam? It's like a nice break and retest right there, 2 off the pivots. Break and retest right here. Price pushed up. retest, retest. I mean, it looks like a trade you would have taken. Maybe wrote it up to the sessions right there. So, all right, we're currently at the sessions. You guys can see here how price is having trouble getting past the sessions. This is why we don't trade at the sessions, right? This is a clear example, manipulation. Or even like this right here, push above, fake out, pull back down. Same difference. All right, let's take a look at the market profile because we don't really need to right now. Let's wait for that sell signal to come up. Once the sell signal comes up, we can look at the market profile, and then from there we can see if there's any confluences for the other direction. So price is still pushing up right now. All right, we're above the sessions, but there's nothing here we can take for a buy at the moment. There was an A++ setup that came up right here, but it was right at the sessions, of course. Obviously not an entry that I would have taken. Looks like we had yeah, that was an A++. So we had the bullish momentum right here. The engulfing right here lined up with the MPSV2. This was a good entry now that I'm looking back at it. It was a pretty good entry because there was two confluences. It was an MPSV2 plus it lined up with the engulfing, and then price came up, retraced V1 right here, and then it started to push up a lot higher from that point. The only problem is that it's at the session. So like I said, see how price is having trouble getting past this area? There's like two different things that happen when price gets to this area. It's either going to get stuck here and go back and forth, or it's going to just blast right through it, right? So like use these as comparisons, right? So earlier price blasted right through it, but then eventually came back down. Right here, price is trying to get past it, but it's now having trouble. It's just stuck right here down the middle. So just how it is sometimes. And that's why I usually don't like to trade around that area. Let's see, Sam said missed it, was looking, getting FOMO, so took a few. PC said it's not an MPS V2 though. Yeah, it's not. I said it was an A++ setup. It's a V1 right there. It's not NPSV2. The NPSV2 would have, that's where we're looking for the sell signal. So until there's a sell signal, there's no NPSV2 to take. So now, wait. PC says handled and closed. Okay, so if you wanted to not call that NPSV2, here's NPSV2 at PC. If that makes you happy. Bro, it doesn't make a difference. NPSV2 still came up in this area. So if that wasn't the NPSV2, if this makes you happy that okay, we wanted to wait for this one, it doesn't matter. There's NPSV2 came up here regardless of the fact. So I mean, it's the same thing, right? If this one was counted, it doesn't matter. If this one was counted, this would still be an A++ right here. So I mean, I don't know what you're trying to get out of this, but the NPSV2 came up on either candle. So it could have been this one, could have been this one. But what we're trying to get to is like what's next here, right? Which should be the A++. So that's why I was trying to mentioning the A++ here. It wouldn't matter like either way, because there's a red flag here regardless. So even if the NPSV2 came up down here, or if it came down right here, there would still be a red flag in this area. So it's just not an area where I'd be looking to take anything. But what I was trying to explain here was really the A++, because these setups are coming up regardless of the fact. So I mean, if you want to take every single entry, not talking to you specifically, but for the people who want to take an entry here, I mean, again, there's three options here. I'll put the three options right here. So 3 current main options to adapt with. Yeah, PC said it's an A+- because of the red flag. You're right. You're right on that one. It wouldn't be an A+, it'd be an A+- because you have the confluences, but you also don't have the confluences because it's not in a good area to be trading at. But anyways, so 3 main options to adapt to current market conditions, or we'll just say to current volatility, right? Because you don't really have to make these changes. It's if you want to. So 1 is half contract size to be able to take 2 losses instead of 1. 2, take minimal contract size, take all available entries, or 3, do nothing. Remain at set contract size and focus on 1, 2 quality entry. So I mean, these are the main options that you guys have, guys, for anybody who's and here's also note, or actually it doesn't matter anymore for the smaller accounts because we're at a small, so the ATR is back to 44, guys. Look at this. So the ATR is back to 44. So with that said, I mean, we might not even be using 60. So I was gonna put here also for the people with smaller accounts, but it doesn't matter anymore. You can pretty much take, you can still trade on the mini because the ATR is a lot smaller. Let's see. Yeah, Christian said. Yeah, exactly. Christian said the entry he believes is a big candle for entry point because of the, yeah, exactly. It was the following candle, but then it'd be at the red flag. All right, Tarek said he's done for the day. See you guys tomorrow. Good luck. Definitely, Tarek. We'll see you back here on Tuesday, man. Good work today on that W. Yeah, man. Thanks, Tarek. Now thinking about it, I'm glad your analysis worked out with mine because it worked out in our favor. So the cool thing with this being my risk is pretty much the same between the 50 and the 60. So I don't really have to make changes because it's only off by like a couple, like maybe $100 or so. So I'm gonna be leaving my contract size to where it's currently at 4 contracts right now. And I'll probably just, yeah, I'll probably just leave it as is. Christian switched it to 50 CP stop loss, which is probably a smart decision. I mean, I might have to adjust it to 50 or maybe even smaller. The ATR is currently at 43 right now, guys. So the volatility here is definitely starting to die down a little bit. What we're looking for next is we're looking for that sell signal to come up. Once that sell signal comes up, we can start looking for possible opportunities back into the range down here. I'm going to extend this out again, just in case price comes back down. I mean, it's going to be no surprise if it does, because you can see over here how price kind of fakes out, right? Price bounces around this area, comes up, fakes out, comes below, fakes out, comes back above. What if these price if it fakes back out? Back into this lower area. Yeah, Sam took the A++. Good now, 30 pips only. Yeah, so the market volatility is going back to what we're used to, right? This is a good sign. We want to see markets to calm down a little bit. We don't want it to stay up to like 80 or anything above 60, really. I think 60 is a good high point for ATR. So if we measure these candles here, we'll say about 50. Right, we're back in normal market now. So see how these candles here are within the 50 point mark? This means that we're going back into normal market, which is fine. I mean, this is what we wanted, right? Kind of over those crazy market conditions. Let me check CNBC real quick. Any updates? So it says NVIDIA to mass produce AI supercomputers in Texas as part of a 5 billion US push. Yeah. Okay. That's good. There's nothing here with the news. Let me check the news for this week. So tomorrow we have New York Empire State Manufacturing Index. So that's going to be some inflation news with regard to manufacturing. Wednesday we have retail sales, business inventories, housing market index, and Powell's going to speak. So Jerome Powell's going to speak on Wednesday at 10:30. I think Wednesday is going to be a little crazy in the afternoon or midday, I guess. Thursday, we have building permits, continuing jobless claims, 4-week average, housing starts, building permits, etc. So we have like a lot of the housing data coming out this week. We got the Fed speaking on Wednesday. Well, Powell specifically, so that's going to be pretty big. And then nothing on Friday. So today's supposed to be traditionally a slower week. It's a slower week because there's not as many huge news events happening. So this is kind of why the market here is kind of stabilizing, kind of dying out a little bit. I hope the market goes back to this and it just stays at this point until the 90 days are up for the tariff, right? Because the tariffs are on a 90-day pause right now. So we'll see what it looks like over the next couple weeks or so. All right, we still haven't had that sell signal come up yet, guys. The ATR is down to 43 now. We have a pending sell signal right here. If that sell signal closes, possible opportunity for price to come back below this point and provide entry for a sell NPSV2. All right, so looking at this right now, we currently have no confluences on the 1 minute market profile, possibly a rejection here off the point of control if price comes back down lower. We have rejections on both ends over here on the 30 minute. Possible rejection off the market profile. Not really much. I don't think this is going to set up yet. We got a huge green candle right here. The 70-point candle. Probably not. All right, so definitely no entry there. You can take this out, guys. All right, so definitely no entry there for a sell. Possibly a buy signal, which may come up on this candle or the next one. There you go. Pending buy signal right there. Yeah, Vapid said tariff pause, except China is getting demolished. Yeah, exactly. I don't really see much. I don't even, it's gonna be the same thing as like what happened this month, right? Once the 90 days are up, Trump's gonna say, all right, we're gonna have tariffs again, and then another 90-day pause. I think it's gonna happen all throughout the year. It's just gonna be nonstop until eventually they just drop it. Basically what Trump is doing, and from one of my perspective, is he's trying to corner China right now, right? Because the thing is, if he removes the tariffs from all these other countries, we'll just like we're going to be exporting and importing from all these other countries rather than China, right? Everyone's going to want to make deals with the US because that just means more business for them. And then with that being the case, Trump can drive prices down in these other countries, right? I mean, it's already pretty dirt cheap already in these countries, but Trump's gonna like pressure them to accept even lower pay because now we can't even get stuff from China anymore. So, and there's like a master plan to it, guys. Like from my perspective, I think there's a bigger picture to this, all this craziness that's going on. And we're just along for the ride. I mean, that's really what it is. We can't really do anything about it. And it's just how do you react to this type of stuff that's going on. Let's see, Christian said, I just wonder what signals. Oh yeah, I know. You know what I saw? I don't think they're giving signals anymore, Christian. I saw this video that was exposing them on YouTube that said that they made a huge announcement that they're no longer doing signals. And I was like, yeah, it's crazy that people are still, buying into signals. People who still buy into signals, I think it's crazy. Because the thing is that if you guys have been trading for a while, the whole signal game of things, that thing's been around for a long time. Like since before I started trading. Like when I first started trading, I couldn't find any actual trading education. I just found a bunch of signal providers. Um, yeah, it's crazy. And until today, there's still people who are still, buying into these signals. Like I can imagine someone who's like following signals like during last week's market, right? If someone was following signals from last week's market, it's like almost instant account blown for a lot of people because the volatility is so high. Like a lot of those signals just wouldn't make sense. All right, we have a possible MPS V2 setting up right here. Thanks, Christian, for the heads up. We have a buy signal which closed right there. We're currently at the session, so this isn't exactly where you want to be trading at. What I would like to see here is I would like to see a green candle close, push up higher, retrace, and then push it higher from there, right? That's kind of what we're looking for right now. All All right, so looking at the market profile, there is no rejections right here. So there's nothing on the 1 minute. Looking at the 30-minute time frame, we do have rejection right here off the value high and off the point of control. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, we do have rejection right here off the value low and the market profile, or sorry, value low and the volume profile. Nothing here off the volume profile. Nothing here off the clean chart. And a small rejection right here off the support level. So we got some stuff here, not anything super great, but we do have a couple confluences. Rejection off the support, rejection off the 1 hour, rejection off the 30-minute, and that's about it. But we are at the session, so this is a red flag. If anybody wants to take this entry here, again, you can take it at your own risk. I will mark it up for you guys. This is an MPS V2, but it's right at the session. So I think a 45 TP stop loss would be valid in the sense we're in this type of move here. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take this trade. It's right at the sessions. But I have it marked up for you guys here for anybody who is looking to take it. Not in this position. Again, like I said, this isn't necessarily the type of setup that I look for because it is right at the sessions right here. I think this will be the last opportunity for today, guys. It's 7:53 right now. We have market starting to flatten out a little bit as we get closer to 8 o'clock. So while we have that there running, I think we had some profits over here from all right. So yeah, if you guys have profits posted up, feel free to send them up. I just posted Adam's profits for the day. So good profits overall. Yeah, this is a nice little recovery for me. I mean, especially after all the crap I got into yesterday, or not yesterday, last week. It's nice to start off the week with a decent little win there. Well, it's not even that little, it's just a decent win, of course. So all right, guys. Looking at this here, the MPS V2 is currently running. The ATR is smaller again, so it might have to drop down to 40. The ATR is now down at 40 ATR. Not in this position, I'm just following it for you guys. For those of you who are looking to take every single entry that comes up. This wouldn't be considered a good one, of course, because it's right at the session, but I'm just marking it up for you guys to follow. If anybody is taking it or thought about taking it or is looking to take it, etc. That's what's currently running right now. So I'm gonna take this off. I want you guys to think I'm in the position. I mean, this will probably swing back up at some point, but like I said, this is another clear example of like why we don't trade at the sessions, right, guys? So, you know, these are good examples that are coming up because hopefully this will scare you not to want to take the entries at the sessions. See how like price kind of consolidates here for a little bit and then it comes crashing down. This is normal for session moves, right? This is exactly what happened over here. Price ended up going sideways for a bit. For a while, actually, eventually it pushed up. Same with this one over here. Price pushed into the sessions, sat there for a little bit, and then pushed down. So this is why I don't like to trade around these areas because there's a lot of uncertainty when price gets to this point, right? When price gets here, it's like we don't know if price is going to continue up or if it's going to continue down. Yeah, Samson did not look like a liquidity sweep. Yeah, I agree because we had the liquidity right there, right? Where's that line at? There we go. Yeah. Looks like it could have been a sweep right there. Usually when the liquidity lines up with the sessions, it does tend to look like a liquidity sweep, right? And here we go, as price comes back down lower. Yeah, so if you guys ever see liquidity that's like right next to the sessions, guys, it's gonna tend to be a liquidity sweep. I mean, not always gonna happen like that, but what you can see here is a possible reversal. Price comes up, grabs liquidity, reverses right back down. All right, guys, it's about to be 8 o'clock. I don't see any other questions here. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I have 2 mentoring sessions for today. Let me check. So I have a mentoring session with Jarrell at 2 o'clock, and then I have a mentoring session with 2 new members with Ben and Gina. They're pretty much brand new to trading for the most part. So if you guys want to see how I mentor brand new traders, feel free to hop in on those sessions. Jarrell is like the weekly mentoring session that we have at 2 o'clock on Mondays. So if you guys want to sit in on that, we'll see how Jarrell's been progressing, and we'll kind of go from there. So for this week, yeah, I have mentoring sessions on today and then on Thursday. We have some mentoring sessions on that day as well. I think that's about it for this week. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I think we're gonna wrap this up. There's nothing else really to take here. We have a sell signal that just came up. The only problem with this here is that if we do get an MPSV2 right here, it's going to be again right at the sessions, right? This purple line. So this is going to be an area to avoid, of course. I mean, it looks like price is probably going to try to pull back into the range down here. So we have a possible opportunity for MPSV2. If a green candle comes up, let's see if there's any confluences here for those of you who are looking to take entry. Nothing here on the 1 minute. We have a nice rejection right here on the 30-minute off the value high. Nice rejection right here off the 1 hour. Nothing on the volume profile. Nothing on the, actually there's one rejection right here off the clean chart. And rejection right here off the resistance point. So we have some confluences here for a sell if anybody's looking to take this. I don't think this is necessarily going to be the best opportunity for entry because we're so close to the sessions down there. But if you guys are looking to take it, if you find a red candle that closes below, we'll say this black line right here, this could be an MPSV2 for a sell. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. It's about to be 8 o'clock in about 30 seconds. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, pretty nice start to the week so far. Nice win right there. I took this for half profit, of course. If I took this for a full contract size, I'd be up like about 2,500 per account, but it's okay. I'll keep it at half contract size for now. And then if the market starts to kind of stabilize a little bit and looks a lot more consistent, then I'll go back to my full contract size. But as of now, I think this is cool. CJ said, got 1 trade in for the day. I'm okay with that. Gonna take a page out of Kodi's book and relax for the rest of the day. I know this guy's knocked out. You guys see him? He's been here sleeping all morning. He's snoring too, but you can't really hear him. Now he's awake. Yeah, this dude snores pretty loud, but thankfully you guys can't hear him from the speakers. But all right, guys, that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, I'll be back here in about 6 hours for a mentoring session with Jarrell, and then another mentoring session with Ben and Gina at 4 o'clock. So if you guys want to sit on that, feel free. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live.